Hello and welcome to another Sprues and Brews review. Today we are having a look at chapter approved Warzone Nephilim Grand Tournament Mission Pack, the latest chapter approved for Warhammer 40,000. So 6 months ago the game was shifted to a 6-month season format where we would get a chapter approved in a new kind of Warzone every 6 months, and that would introduce kind of rule changes and points updates and the usual missions and the like. And we've got the latest one here, Warzone Nephilim. So first of all, I want to say a massive thanks to Games Workshop for sending us this for free early to review. And yeah, this is an interesting one. First of all, you only get the one book, so there is no supplemental kind of pamphlet containing the points anymore. That is a thing of the past, because from this season, all points updates will be free on Warhammer Community. So even by the time you're watching this video, they may be already up there. Alternatively, they may time it to be when the book comes out. I don't know for sure when the actual points are released. I've not seen them yet, so I assume the day the book comes out. So yeah, that's a big change, because before there was a bit of a, I guess, accusation that if you wanted to play the game even casually, you then had to buy this book every 6 months in order to get the points. Well, that's no longer the case. If you aren't too fussed in the Grand Tournament kind of mission pack way of playing, you don't need to buy the book, because all the points will be free online, which is awesome. If you are into the tournament scene though, they're going to use this as an opportunity to change the way the game works and do some different things. And we see that within this book. So what we have got is some pretty big changes to the way we muster our armies and the way command points are generated. We now get a lot less command points than we used to back in the day. So in 1,000-point games we start with 3 CPs, and in 2,000-point games we start with 6 CPs. So that is going to massively change the number of kind of early door stratagems you can kind of fire off at the start of the game. Compounding that further, if you want to take a warlord trait or a relic, they now cost you command points too. So say you've got a standard battle force game, you start with your 6 CPs, you give your warlord a warlord trait and you put a relic on something, you are now only starting the game with 4 CPs, even before you've spent any of those other kind of before the game stratagems. I suspect this is a way of combating some of the aggressive Alpha Strike combos of stratagems that you can get at the start of the game that really kind of make a massive impact to the way the game plays. Personally, I'm not a massive fan of the kind of stratagem bloat we've got at this point in the game. You know, the 9th edition's been going a couple of years now, and we're probably not too far off in the next year or two a 10th edition, which could potentially be a big shift and change. So this is a good opportunity to take those things that are maybe running away a little bit too much, tweak them, readdress them, and see if it kind of works in balancing the game itself. So I suspect this is maybe the first step in that, limiting the initial command points so you can't just turn one, blow 8 command points and do some ridiculous combo that wins you the game, because that's not a fun game for anyone really. In order to counter that though, command point generation throughout the game has been increased. So you now get a command point in the start of both players' turns. So basically each battle round you're getting 2 command points. So again, that's cool. You are getting more command points over the course of the game, but it's weighted throughout the game rather than weighted at the very front. So I am cautiously optimistic about this change. Yes, you're going to start off with less, and arguably I'd rather there be less stratagems and take out some of the bloat and some of the more kind of ones that I feel like they should be thematic things on a kind of a profile. Just build them into the profile, because then you can point them appropriately to represent those abilities. So I kind of hope this is the first steps towards that. The other change that we get is in the command points that super heavy auxiliary detachments cost. If it matches your warlord's faction keyword, then it's got a +3 command points kind of cost to it. So, you know, you're getting a refund for taking it. That doesn't apply to the Chaos Imperium Eldari or Tyranids one. So if you, for example, have a Space Marine army and you take a Knight, you don't get the refund. But if you take a Chaos Space Marine army and take a the Core and Lord of War thing, you do get the refund there. So some of the army-specific Laws of Wars will be able to take in, even though we've kind of reduced down the command point. So again, I think that's a pretty good thing. The other big change that we've seen in this book, however, is the way that secondaries work. So previously we had a list of secondaries that could be taken by anyone, and then various supplements had new secondaries in there, codexes had new secondaries in there, and they were a bit all over the place, and it kind of felt like in order to kind of keep up with it, you had to buy all the supplements and have this massive pile of books to trawl through when you're picking your secondaries. That has completely changed now. Every mission, you start with Assassination, Grind Them Down, and Behind Enemy Lines. You can then swap those out for any of the secondaries within this book. And what they've done is taken all of those secondaries and put them into the single book. From the publication of this, any existing secondaries in any other book are no longer valid for your Grand Tournament games. They've also removed the restriction of having only one per faction objective as well. So if you're an Orc player, you could take 3 Orc secondaries now if you want to, giving you a load of new ways to kind of gain those points. So that's really, really cool. So for each category, we get a list of all the secondaries that you can take. And again, they're all within the book, which makes them easy to find. The core ones haven't really changed here. The big change is the fact that every single faction in the game, including factions that don't have a codex yet, have their own unique secondary, which is amazing. Now, I'm not going to go through all of these in the video because there's an awful lot of them. I will say that each kind of Space Marine kind of force has their own unique secondaries. Every Chaos Space Marine kind of sub-faction has their own secondaries. So you have got an awful lot of choice in what you do to pick them. For example, we've got, you know, Astra Militarum, we've probably got a book on the horizon, but it's not out yet. So we get 4 unique ones there that they can take. Likewise, Demons and the like, where, you know, yes, we got a couple of unique ones in the last book, but this really opens it up so that every single force has their own suite of secondaries they can pick from, in addition to the main ones. And it also means that if you are playing the game, in this single book, you know every single secondary that can be taken by every single army. So from a competitive point of view, you can learn what kind of secondaries that people have got and what they're able to achieve without necessarily having to pick up every codex or every supplement. You know that during this season, all of these various secondaries are options that can be scored. And I think that's a really, really good thing. And they've taken the opportunity to go back and adjust some of these secondaries, add some new ones in as well, and really kind of breathe some new life into the way that secondaries work in the game. So as cool as the changes to command points and the kind of exhaustive list of secondaries that you get in the missions, we get to now my kind of real disappointment with the book, and that is that all of the missions in here are the same missions from last season. There might be some minor changes that I've not caught going through them, but yeah, on the face of it, they're the exact same missions, the same maps, the same kind of deployment distances. Often in the past we'd get a similar mission and they'd kind of redo how it works and, you know, change how you deploy and some of the mechanics in it. But these are the same missions that we had in the previous edition of the book. So that does seem a massive shame, because one of the advantages, I guess, of doing 6 monthly books is that it could massively expand the kind of suite of missions that we've got access to. So that does seem a real shame to me. It's a mixed one for me, because obviously they've done great things putting all the secondaries in the front of it. That's brilliant, and the changes to command points I think have been really good as well. I'd have just liked to have seen some new missions in here. On a positive note though, they have now included the full rules in here, so that's something they omitted from last year's book. So it's good to see them. It's always really handy to be able to throw this in your tournament bag, because you need it anyway for the missions, and be able to look up any kind of rules issues on the fly. So yeah, so that's pretty cool. I mean, the biggest thing really is the fact that those points are now separate. So again, don't know when those points are going to be released. I assume on release of this book. What we will do once we've seen those points changes, we'll have a follow-up video to this where we kind of dig into the changes and what's happened, and you know, does anything move massively across the armies. I'm looking forward to playing some missions using this new Grand Tournament pack. I'm looking forward to seeing how the reduction in command points really changes how stratagems work in the game as well. I think that's something that has always bothered me a little bit, and it's good to see Games Workshop trying to address that and finding new ways of kind of interacting with those rules. So yeah, it's exciting times. I think we are in like the twilight of 9th edition, and we probably are moving towards 10th edition, and some of the stuff that we see in the next couple of seasons could be a test bed of stuff that we maybe see going into 10th edition. So yeah, also today we've got a load of content going up for Necromunda, all of the Book of the Outland stuff, the Squats, the Stormcaller, we've got videos for all them. Also, if you're an Age of Sigmar player, we've got the Sylvaneth, the Skaven, and the General's Handbook up today. Yeah, busy one for pre-orders today, so we've got videos for all them on the channel. And we've also got companion articles over on spruesandbrews.com as well for those. So if you're interested, check it out. If you like this video, why not give us a follow? We do lots of kind of reviews and battle reports and stuff like that. So we've got some fun stuff coming on the way. So until next time, we'll see you soon and have a great weekend.